Behind a small hill, hidden from the rest of the town, stood an old, forgotten library. It had dusty, cobwebbed windows and a roof with missing shingles. The shelves would creak and moan as if settling into bed. It looked like an old house with a glowing grin, shuffling through the darkness, stopping outside a house with a whispered sigh. Then a whisper would escape through the keyhole, and a magical story would unfold. It was just for whoever lived in that house, a story made of stardust and dreams. Then, with all the windows glowing like golden eyes, it would gently walk through the silent town. They'd wake up in the morning with a brand new love for reading, and books would become their best friends forever. But inside, the books were safe and sound, waiting patiently for someone to read them. Sammy gasped. Sammy peeked over his shoulder and saw a smiling knight with a bushy white beard. "Where are we going?" he asked. The room began to spin, and when it stopped, he found himself soaring through the air on the back of a magnificent dragon. Before Sammy could ask any more questions, they landed in a field with a soft thud. Sammy shrugged. "Does it matter?" Looking around, Sammy noticed a fork in the road. One path was made of twinkling stars, and the other of shining pebbles. "I'm sure," he said, nodding bravely. Earning a smile and a gentle pat on the head from the knight and a wave from the lady. Next to him lay the open book, and the window was filled with dancing fireflies. And every morning when he woke up, he couldn't wait to see what new stories awaited him. Sammy smiled. He knew now that every book was a doorway to a magical world, a world where anything could happen, a world where he could have any adventure he wanted. At the end of the path, they reached a clearing where a giant tree stood. Its leaves sparkled like diamonds, and under its branches sat a wooden chest overflowing with colorful books. Taking the first step onto the path, he realized how much he wanted to help the knight and the lady. He wanted to make them happy because they reminded him of Mr. Grumbles, and he knew Mr. Grumbles would be very proud of him. Every night, when the stars rose and the little street lamps flickered on, the library would come to life. It wasn't scary, just magical. If you choose the path of stars, you'll have to answer 3 riddles. Are you sure you want to do that? He had tousled brown hair, sparkling green eyes, and a big, infectious laugh. But his favorite thing to do was to stay up late and watch the fireflies dancing outside his window. He reached out and touched the cover of one of the books, and he felt himself falling, tumbling, flying. When he opened his eyes, he was back in his room. Instantly, he was filled with a warmth that spread through his whole body. He opened the book and began to read. And if they listened until the very end, something wonderful would happen. One night, the library came upon a little house with a crooked chimney. Inside lived a boy named Sammy. He kept glancing at the window, watching the fireflies dance. "Oh, fireflies, why do you have to go away?" he sighed. He liked books almost as much as he liked fireflies, which was not very much. He asked, startled. He looked around the room, but everything seemed just as it always was. The clock on the wall ticked twice. Was he going crazy? Rubbing his eyes, he went back to watching the fireflies. Most nights, he'd rather stay up late and listen to his teddy bear, Mr. Grumbles, tell him stories. But Mr. Grumbles was very good at making up stories, and most nights he'd fall asleep before Mr. Grumbles could finish one. But tonight, Sammy couldn't focus on Mr. Grumbles' stories. Just then, a soft whisper tickled his ear. Who said that? Suddenly, the window burst into flames, showering the room in golden sparks. "Hold on tight, little friend," boomed a deep voice. "On an adventure, of course," the knight replied, winking. "Are you a mind reader?" Sammy asked. Giggling. "Perhaps," the knight said cryptically. A beautiful woman with flowing gold hair appeared beside them. "Which path should we take?" She asked. Of course it does, the woman said, frowning. Sammy took a deep breath. So he answered each riddle correctly. Sammy felt a magical pull, like an invisible hand was beckoning him closer. And as he did, he knew this was the start of a great adventure. Suddenly, a loud bell rang. He looked over at McGrumbles, who had a brand new patch of threadbare fur. From that day on, Sammy spent his days reading books and his nights having wonderful adventures.